Oh. Once upon a time, this story is called The Transformed Mouse Seeks a Bridegroom, and it is from Panchatantra, which is a collection of fables from India. Once upon a time, there was a hermitage on the edge of the river Ganges, and the men there were dedicated to prayer and fasting. And they ate only fruits and roots and bulbs and water plants, and they only drank the smallest amounts of pure water, and all they wore for clothes was loincloths made of tree bark. And one time, the father of this hermitage was down at the river Ganges bathing, and just as he was about to finish his ritual by rinsing out his mouth, into his hand a falcon dropped the tiniest little mouse. And the man looked at this mouse. He examined it. He set it aside on the bank on a fig leaf. And then he bathed himself again. He rinsed out his mouth. He said his prayers and he did his rituals. And then through the power of his holiness, this little mouse was transformed into a little girl. He took the girl home to his wife, who was childless, and says, "Wife, please raise this daughter as your own." So the wife did. The girl was loved and nurtured and reared. And by the time she was 12, she was ready to be married. So the wife took her daughter to the husband and says, "Husband, our daughter is ready to be married. You need to find her a husband." He says, "Well, who is more appropriate for our lovely, wonderful daughter than the most powerful sun god?" And the wife says, "Of course you're right. That's a wonderful plan." So, through prayer and incantation, he calls the sun god to him, and the sun god says, "What do you want from me, holy man?" The man says, "Well, I would like for you to marry my daughter, if she will have you." And he turns to his daughter, and he says, "Will you marry this sun god, most holy and fierce?" She says, "No, for he is far too hot. I need something more powerful than that for a husband." So the man turns to the sun and says, "Well, son, what is more powerful than you?" And the sun said, "The cloud, through his cover, obscures me and makes me invisible. He is far more powerful than I am." So they call the cloud and ask the cloud, "Will you marry my daughter if she will have you?" And of course the cloud has no objections, for the girl is very beautiful and very kind and wise. And the man turns to his daughter and he asks her, "Well, is the cloud, will you marry him?" She says, "Oh no, for he is far too dark and cold. I need something more powerful than him." The man turns to the cloud and says, "Cloud, what is more powerful than you?" Well, and the cloud says, "Well, the wind, of course. Through his power, I am blown into 1,000 pieces." So they call the wind and ask the wind to marry the daughter. And then they turn to the daughter and they say, "Well, daughter, is the wind the one for you?" She says, "Oh no, he is far too inconstant. I need something more powerful." "Well, wind, what is more powerful than you?" Then the wind says, "Well, the mountain, most tall and fierce and strong, for no matter how hard I blow, he doesn't change." So they call the mountain, and the mountain says, "Well, of course I'll marry your daughter if she'll have me." They turn to the daughter and she says, "Oh no, he is far too rigid and hard. I will not marry him. I need something even more powerful than the mountain." And the man turns to the mountain. He says, "Well, mountain, what is more powerful than you?" The mountain says, "Well, actually, the mice, through the violence of their tunneling, have the power to demolish me." So they call a mouse, the king of the mice, and they say, "Will you marry my daughter?" And the mouse says, "Well, yes, I will, of course." And the daughter looks at the mouse, and she feels that it is right. She says, "Father, this is the one for me. Please transform me into a mouse. This is what I was meant to do." So the man, through the power of his holiness, transformed his daughter back into a mouse, and she went off with the king of the mice. That's the end.